We're back, and I'm going to do this live here, and my garage is a little dirty, but we got the Banshee bike here, and this is a 4¼ inch wheel. You can see how it's just deformed, this 180 that's on here. That's just silly. But I got it on here, and I've got a few different things going on. Got a little piece of cardio equipment just to stay lean a little bit. Hey, what's up, Shane? Thanks for checking in here. We've got Dewey's DRZ garage here. Got my SM, my trusty 2016. Got the 2012 S model. Got the E model sitting over here chilling. Got my elliptical / stationary bike. I'm kind of stoked about getting that down in the basement. But we got Banshee bike. Ooh. Ooh. Yes, please. But anyway, I was checking this out. And I've done a little bit of this myself here. This has got a couple of spacers. So it's got a couple of spacers that fit in between the swing arm and the spacer on here. So I'll have to thread that on when I place this axle into place. I'd done something similar using this on my YZ. Can you go ahead and tell me what you're talking about loose? That's kind of a custom setup here. So again, we're looking at the interaction between this spacer here and the swing arm. And I'm sorry about the sound. I've got my air conditioner and my fan going. It's hot in Dewey's garage, so I hope you can hear me okay. But that has to do with the offset, okay? That has to do with the offset. So we're moving this wheel away from the swing arm. And they might have been trying to do something with this lip here, but we're going to have a properly fitted tire when we're all said and done here. Oh, the exhaust baffles. Yes, that's just how they are, man. Scott was sharing that with me. But I'm going to put you up on the tripod, and I'm going to see if I can bust this thing loose. Who knows how long it's been on here. And again, give me a little bit of grace on my filthy ass garage. So I've got the XR650L. Forgive me here. Engine sitting over there. My reward for doing it, pun intended. Let's see if we can swing this down. Was to be able to mess with the Banshee bike here. And just to give you an overview, if you're not familiar with the channel here, this is a 2012. What? This is a 2012 Husqvarna. I think it's a TE 250 with a Banshee engine in here. And she be stuffed in there. Oh, what's up? I think my Russian friend there. CRF 450 RL and a K. Any thoughts on those? You know, I have thoughts, but the 450 RL, I'm trying to see what you can see here. The RL is just kind of got some problems, in my opinion, with if you do any mods to it. And by that I mean like the ECU on it. They're throttled by wire. They're throttled by wire, and you got to replace it with the ECU with something else because they're locked down that tight. So I think there's the Vortex ECU, and then I think there's a few other ones that work for it. My friend, I tried to help him out with his, and his bike sat like for 3 months because they couldn't get it figured out because it just was running all over the place and inconsistent. It might have been a fuel pump issue. It might have been something. I cleaned the injector out, but they're just kind of silly. I think their idea was right, but I mean, if you wanted something like that, I mean, it's just going to be, you'll have EFI, but I'm old school, and maybe I'm not the person to ask. If it were me, I'd go back and see if you can find a WR450F before they did the reverse head on them, when they were still 5-valve, and they were a true throttle cable EFI. So it has a throttle position sensor, and it's kind of like the Bill Cosby, I'm not asking, we're doing this type thing. And if it doesn't squirt the amount of fuel that it's supposed to when it's supposed to, you've got a problem with something like an injector plugged or a fuel pump, not a servo motor that's supposed to open the throttle when you say to, not when the computer says it might want to let it open up. And so I'm a fan of those. I know our new DRZ has that, and we're gonna have to see how that goes. And as far as your 390, it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like the 690. It's not really a supermoto. If you look at how the engine sets in the frame, it's not really what it's supposed to be. And I'm sure it has its target audience, but those are my thoughts on it. I don't have good thoughts. I don't have anything nice to say about it. I think there's certain people that it might be good for, but it's not my jam, man. So I'm going to get into changing this tire. Let's see. All right, I'm not seeing any more. Yeah, my chat probably broke, friends. Doggone it. Can somebody comment something real quick? I'll check here in a second. We're going to get into changing this tire. If in just a few minutes all I see is Shane's, yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. If you want something with some snap on it, Shane, save your pennies from working all them weekends and get a real FCR 39MX. We're going to change this tire. And that will absolutely, we'll work together on it, and we'll get your carb jetted. We'll get your carb jetted for your setup. And it's going to take some time. It's kind of like what we did before on your buddy's bike, I think is what it was. Gosh, when I go back and think about, sorry about the sound here, when I go back and think about all the people that I've had conversations with because I've had this channel and the bikes that I've worked on, I just really am thankful. I feel really blessed to, meet, people like, Link's Garage, and do that project with him, and end up with the Banshee bike here, and folks like Chicks or Bra and Jake and it's just all these different folks that are somebody in the YouTube community, and Brian 636, folks like that I've got a chance to meet as a result of that. I just feel really blessed. That's pretty cool. But back to this. This is a 4 1/4 inch wheel. Okay? And these are KKE wheels, which I think are pretty good. Yeah, this is a solid state wheel. This is not a push drive, which I'm kind of happy about that. Now, I've not had dealings with this tire or this wheel here, and I might struggle a bit, fam. I might struggle a skosh. Okay, my valve stem's right here, so I'm gonna offset this, because if this is the correct size tube, I'm a serial tube reuser, unless it's poop. But I'm using my Nomar tire changer here. This is annoying. This tire is so ungodly too big for this wheel. Oh, but we broke the bead. Oh, that's just, that's just silly. It's kind of like the douchebag. Can I say douchebag? Hope you guys can hear me say douchebag. People on the DRZ groups with the stretched swing arm and lowered and all that. That's who I would expect to put a 180. Now Scott didn't do that. Scott Link or Link's Garage did not do this. This is how it came. This is just silly. So this is a Conti Sport Attack. I think this is an original Sport Attack. I haven't looked at the tire date on this, but if it's just a Sport Attack, it's not even a 2 or 3. I'll look at the date on this, but it's going to be silly. Okay, I'm going to check the chat. Hey chat, I'm going to check out the chat. Yeah. Oh, it's calling her a night. Well, hey, anybody else in the chat, make sure and chime in, or anybody watching, make sure and chime in. Make a comment. I'll give you I'll answer a question, or oh good God, this thing's just silly. This is just silly. Hopefully I got a chance to tell Shane good night there, buddy. And so some of these Nomars, they have these quick clamps on them, and then they have ones like what I have, which you guys have seen me hit the struggle bus before, and but it makes it able to clamp on to like dirt bike wheels. But it also gives you an ability to focus exactly how much force you want to clamp down on your wheel, which for me, I under a little bit of stress, my friend Tyler, that has a Ducati I think it's an 1190 that had a set of carbon fiber wheels. At the track, I changed his tire on his carbon fiber freaking wheel. The reason why I'm doing this tonight is I made a comment on Dank Wheelie, aka Mike Davis, I think, or Mike Diesel. He was using his Rubicanda tire changer, and you know, I think if people are using those, you know, good for you. Again, this is a little bit difficult because this tire is so oversized for this wheel. So the lip, the sidewall edge is hanging so far over the edge. It's providing me with some unusual problems or challenges, which can be viewed as an opportunity. So I'm just putting the old clamp down on the old girl using my 14 millimeter. So I'm just, you know, this is relatively loose, okay? The next, so that's not anything magic. The real magic that comes along, and it's getting to be time. I've got this mounted on a piece of plywood that's been rained on more than once because I've gotten abandoned at the track and I've left it out. And anyway, it's my own fault, but she's gonna wobble a little bit, so it's getting to be that time. Let's see if we have any questions, and I'm gonna dismount this tire. Okay. Okay. So we're doing that, and I'm sorry for the sound in the background. It's hot. I got the air conditioner and fan on. So I'm just spraying a little bit of this mixture, and all it is the Nomar compound. And again, I might have to get my spoon out depending on how much deflection I can get on this. We're gonna find out. I mean, a 160 is a big tire on this, let alone a 180. Yeah, I might have to spoon this. I want to use the tire tool here, the tire changing tool, just because it's just so cool. Okay. So I've been able, it's almost spoke too soon. I've got a good majority. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this, try to be sneaky. Again, this is not a typical problem because usually people aren't silly and try to put a 180 on a 4 1/4 inch wheel. And if you do that, or you think that's a good idea, I don't like you. Okay. And what I'm trying to do is this great big huge tire that's on here, it's really causing me problems. So I'm gonna grab my spoons. I don't like doing that because these wheels are kind of pretty. I'm gonna try to be nice. I'm gonna use my rim protector. Let's see here. So we're wanting to okay. I think I should use this other one that doesn't have this piece on the back. I'm going to try to get a bite on it where it's closer to the top here. I don't like using spoons. I didn't have it underneath there. Welcome to Dewey's Struggle Bus. Good God. Yeah, usually I'm guessing they probably used a tire machine on this. I promise you that I'm not an idiot. I just look like one right now. I'm going to use this spoon maybe to give me just a little bite of leverage. This tube's probably going to be shot. Yeah, I'm sure somebody that has a tire machine or uses spoons a lot is probably screaming at me. But you know what? Hopefully it makes you feel better. And back to the spoon fun. Now the idea is to be able to lever this back and just give me enough room to get this piece underneath here, because that's the real magic of the Nomar. Again, this is not a typical experience with the Nomar. I'm really close. That's why I'm not giving up. It's always something. But yeah, people, don't put a 180 on a 4 1/4 inch wheel. That's just shenanigans. And this tire's old. Well, right now it's whooping me. All I've got to do is get it started. This is one of those things where it'd probably have been better if I were able to set it out. If I were able to set it out in the sun or something. Yeah, it's kind of stinky. You get put in a disadvantage when you got too big of a tire on here. So we're just kind of on the struggle bus for right now. Again, disclaimer, this does not reflect the performance of the Nomar tire changer. I think what I'm going to do, I might get my yellow thing out and see if I can make some progress with it, but we'll see if we can get somewhere over here. Ah, I was close. All right, thank you, Tire Spoon. It created enough room for me to be able to get up underneath there. So what I'm going to do, put some lubricant on here. Hopefully, maybe this Nomar tool, it's at a disadvantage. Hopefully this Nomar tool can do its magic. I'm asking a lot. It's close. Yeah, this ain't fair to the old Nomar. to give it just a little bit of encouragement to get over the lip. Yeah, I probably already screwed myself by having that tool in there. Embarrassing. Yeah, this tire should never, ever been put on this wheel. Shit. Dewey's on the struggle bus, man. Fuck me running. After using the entire weight of my body, force of my legs, I was able to get that right there. It should never be that bad. Now, I gotta get my 12 millimeter, which for some reason is not in my box. So, forgive me real quick. There's my 12. Right there. Alright, get my valve stem tool. Put it back where it belongs. Is this thing not 12 millimeters? It's like it's bigger than 12? Huh. That's strange. Yeah, I may be putting a tube in this. Yeah. You know, this is one of those things about my channel. And again, If anybody's commented past Shane saying good night, I don't see it, and I apologize. I'm not reacting to it. I can already tell you that this tube is probably bigger than what it's supposed to be in this wheel. Okay. And I'm just trying to look for markings on this. Yeah, we're not going to put this tube back in there. 4.5 to 4.75. Nope, that's not the right tube, peoples. There's some weird stuff inside of this tube. I can feel it in there. Some people should not be allowed to mess with stuff like this. All right. And I'm just feeling around and checking, doing some preliminaries. This is just, yeah, I knew it was probably going to be something difficult, and if it's a typical experience, you know, obviously we'd already had the tire back on the bike after I balanced it, but, you know, here on Dewey's Struggle Bus Garage, I share things that ain't easy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is a 8-year-old tire on top of that, so take that for what it's worth. I'll probably give it to one of the boys to smoke off at the lot sometime. Yeah. That's just silly. So I'm gonna go into my tire room. I'm gonna grab my a 4 1/4 inch tube real quick. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this to focus on here. And I can't see anything here on the chat if anybody's, but if you see here 4.0 to 4.5, that's the size of the wheel that tube fits. And these are a 4 1/4 inch wheel. Okay? And they've just got, yeah, this is pretty good sealant on here. I'll go ahead and use it how it is. What I'm going to do real quick here is get lube on my hand when I don't need it. I'm just going to wipe off this wheel and get any of the trash that I can off of it, any dirt. And I'm going to put a little bit of lube on it. And this is just a vegetable base. And some people might say, Dewey, why are you doing that? This is going to hurt it. No, it's not. Okay. Not going to hurt anything at all. And what I do have here is a used Conti Attack SM Evo that my friend Jack gave me when he was at the track. He's selling his, this is a 150/60, the maximum size street tire that you should put on a 4 1/4 inch wheel. And what am I doing? I'm putting some lube inside of the tire. Not just on the bead. I use this instead of baby powder. And there wasn't any type of lubricant on that tube, so I bet wow. That'd be a real bummer. He said he had a puncture in this, and he pulled it out, and I see where he has it circled, but there was another puncture from a piece of safety wire here, and I just felt it from the inside here. Glad I lube the tire. Let me see here. Pull that piece out. Yeah. Just a piece of safety wire. It works. Okay. So I have the clockwise side here. And facing up, so this is counterclockwise, so we're going to go this side down. Wow, that's amazing. Taking this outside nut off of here. And I think we're just going to finish with setting the bead on this tire today, because the long hours out in the sun in the vineyard is wearing on me. If you have tuned in today, I want to say thank you. And I'm just going to put a small amount in here. I have my air compressor over here, but I have limited amount of power. So I'm just going to use my knockoff inflator, tire inflator here. And if you can see here in this box, this is a parts on this box, or this rectangular here, it shows the tire size or the wheel size that this fits. And real quick, we'll contrast that with what was in there. Hence why I was having problems. F word. So, if you know me, if you love them, you lube them. So I went into my bucket of lube, and I lubed the tube. And as a disclaimer, that hip gyration is due to fatigue. I am a straight individual. There's no pride in here except for Trump pride. Or straight pride, I guess that would be one thing. Yeah, fatigue is a factor. Okay. I'm going to salvage a little bit of the lube on the tube. And a lot of people that are coming from the enduro world might say, that's kind of like what I do with my nitro mousse. Yeah, it's the same idea. Sort of. Oh yeah, that's nice and slippery. Okay. And that might be slightly excessive. But you can't use it if it's not on there. And some of the excess is already squeegeeing off on the bead of my free 99 tire. So thanks again, Jack. And also thanks again, Howlett Motor Racing Circuit, for leaving safety wire, or patrons of Howlett Motor Racing Circuit, for leaving safety wire everywhere and giving him a puncture. These were on his tubeless forged Marchesini, probably butchered that, wheels on his WR 450. If you're interested in buying a bike that's got a full, freshly rebuilt top and bottom end, and fully set up suspension, forged Marchesini wheels, and I dropped my nut for my tube here, so I'm a little bit distraught. It's my own fault. I did not drop it. Okay, so I'm just spinning this sucker on here. And you notice that I had enough air in the tube to keep its form. I'm going to leave that amount of air in there, and if I'm not satisfied with how it looks or feels, I'll add a little bit more. So my fingers are a little bit slippery. So it's making, spinning this on here a little bit of a chore. But this will go right on now. But yeah, I knew when I started this live that, who knows what the hell tube that's in there, and what lube's in there, and how much of a pain in the ass that 180, getting it off of there, was going to be. Now we know. So I'm going to have a 180 tire for somebody to burn off. So I'll sponsor that for somebody that's watching, that's in the South Central Kansas area. Like an FZ or MT07. As a bonus here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my air conditioner, because I'm sure you're tired of hearing that if you're still hanging in there. And if you are, thank you for staying in. We're just sharing our experience on this shit show. Okay, now I'm seeing why I was having difficulty. Again, it just, versus say a Warp 9 wheel versus a KKE wheel. There's certain things, or versus like an Alpina or a Marchesini. Bibbidi boppity wheel. Yeah, that's as tight as I'm going to get it. Okay. And I'm done with this tool, and I'm putting it in its place. And I'm taking the next tool that I'm going to use. This is the yellow thing. This is a tool that Nomar uses, and they just call it a yellow thing. What is it? Well, basically it's a bead keeper, not to be mistaken by something that sounds very close to bee keeper. Speaking of bees, there were some bees in the vineyard a couple weeks ago. They swarmed, and they were just hanging out on the grapevine. They weren't getting any fruit or anything. Okay, so I put the bead keeper here at the valve stem. I like to put it there to keep it. And so I'm just spinning this around here. I've got this foregrip and these two knobs here, and it's starting to get a little tight. You're seeing that, right? You're seeing it starting to get a little tight. And what happens is this bead is close to the top of the wheel here. So I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to move it forward a little farther. And what else it does is it pushes the bead on the bottom side down towards the edge of the wheel. This is true for if you're doing, with doing this process with spoons. So you can progress it. I pulled up on it. The beads squeezed together into the drop center or in the center of the wheel, and we have mounted a tire. I know damn good and well that 180 did not go on there that easy. Someone either used a tire machine or they're a magician. But I know this, I don't like them. They're a bad person. They're a bad man or woman, or they. I think that's what it is. They were a they. It's man. So I'm just unclamping this. I want to make sure and set this bead so this lube does not get a chance to set up. But yeah, we've officially done our first something to the Banshee bike. That's exciting. There we go. And just because I can, I'm just going to use my little tool here since it's already set up, ready to go. I'm going to get loud. So we're at 10 psi, and we're just almost set on this side and that side on our bead. I got it set to 20 now. So we're at 20.5. I'm going to go ahead and set it up to 30. Oh, there's one already. Yay. Yeah, that was the opposite side here. It's at 25.5 psi. And for now, that's good enough for the girls I run with. We're going to go ahead and conclude this live. And again, sometimes my chat breaks, and I apologize if I didn't get to you. If you're my friend on Instagram, you're welcome to send me a question or a comment. You're welcome to get feedback that way. Thank you for the 12 people that are in here and the people that have watched our video tonight. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, I'm not able to see anything. Oh, it says top fans. Okay, so Shane's a top fan. Okay, and I don't see anybody past where Sumo Shane said there. So thanks for watching, my friends. And we'll see you next time. Make sure and, if you're in here, one of the 18 people in here, make sure and like and subscribe. Here, I'm going to show you something real quick. Hang in there with us. Hang in there. Here's the Banshee engine in this TE250. I think it's a TE250 frame here. So I'm going to go over here on the other side and see the fatty on that side and the fatty on this side. This is equipped with these stock carburetors here. I have the electrons that he had on there. We're going to mess with that. We do have a slight oil leak. I've got the oil seals coming for the shift shaft right here, for the shift shaft. And we'll see where we can get. Our plan here, and since you stuck in here, what we're going to do is we're going to get this running as good as it can. And I'm going to try to set it up. But the idea is going to be probably putting this in a project 4 mil, which means, you know, if you're not a Banshee person, we're going to go a 4 mil stroke and a 4 mil overbore. It'll bring us to about 421 cc's. And, you know, we're going to have to play with gearing. We're probably going to play with the suspension. The idea is while we have it in this state, here, is to get some of our baseline things out of the way. Well, another thing that's going to be a major problem or major thing to fix is this. That's a standard size brake rotor. That ain't going to work. So we're going to have to go up to a 320. I've got a few different options in mind right now, and we may upgrade that depending on how well this thing rides. If it's just going to be really weird or like poorly handling, we're going to, we'll probably just call it a wash, and then we'll start, we won't mess with, our suspension or anything like that. But if you know me, I can ride about anything. But so I want to see just how well it goes, and we may have to make an adjustment to the final drive to make this thing a little bit more rideable. We're going to have to go through it. I'm at a point where I'm debunking the XR650L engine, but look at that. Banshee engine in a 250F Enduro, or what would it be? Dual sport frame. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at it? But yep, that's it for right now. What we have back there, that's our 650L. And this thing's been a real bastard. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. That's where we haven't had a lot of posts on here. And I'm starting to get exhausted. So I'm going to balance this on my own. Again, don't look at all that other stuff behind there. It's just a mess. We just got our tire on, so we're good. So I'm going to mount that tomorrow after I balance it. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and we will see you next time, my friends. Have a good day or night or whenever it is that you watch it. Make sure and like and subscribe.